Mulan, Disney's Mulan. This isn't one of our big classic books. I haven't found one of those for Mulan, but I'll read this one. This is adapted by Katherine Poindexter, illustrated by José Cardona and Don Willens. Many, many years ago in China, there lived a young woman named Fa Mulan. Mulan tried to be like the other girls, but she was not always delicate and graceful. When Mulan went to see the matchmaker, whose job it was to find her a husband, she accidentally poured tea all over the woman. "You will never bring your family honor," the matchmaker snapped. Mulan returned home. She loved her parents very much, and she couldn't bear to disappoint them. Her father only smiled. "What beautiful blossoms we have this year," he said, gesturing toward a tree. "But look, one is late." Mulan's comb had fallen out of her hair, and he gently put it back. "I'll bet when it blooms, it will be the most beautiful one of all." Suddenly they heard horses' hooves pounding through the streets. "The Huns have invaded China," the emperor's aide shouted. "By order of the emperor, one man from every family must serve in the imperial army." When he called on the Fa family, Mulan's father stepped forward. "No, father," Mulan cried. Her father was no longer young and had already bravely served the emperor in an earlier war. That night, Mulan sneaked into her parents' room. She took her father's notice to report to the army. In its place, she left the beautiful comb she had worn in her hair. With her father's sword, Mulan cut her long, dark hair, and then she slipped into his armor. She would pretend to be a young man and fight in place of her father. Mulan knew the danger. It was against Chinese law for a woman to be a soldier. What if somebody found out? But Mulan loved her father too much to let him go to war. In the family temple, the Fa's ancestors awakened. "That Mulan," one groaned. "What a troublemaker. If they discover she is a girl, it will bring shame to her family." "We must send the most powerful guardian of all to bring her home," the first ancestor said. Okay, I'll go," said Mushu, a little dragon. The ancestors all laughed. You are not worthy," the first ancestor said with a sneer. "Awaken the great stone dragon." Mushu tried to wake up the mighty guardian by banging on his ear. The great stone dragon crumbled into a pile of rocks. The little dragon was in big trouble. Mushu quickly decided to take the great stone dragon's place and find Mulan on his own. He would do more than just bring her home. He'd make her a hero. Mushu wanted to regain his position as guardian in the Fa family temple. Maybe this would help him do it. Mushu caught up with Mulan. He had let the cricket, Kriki, come too. Crickets were known to bring good luck, and Mulan certainly needed that. "I have been sent by your ancestors to guide you," Mushu told Mulan as they neared the soldiers' camp. "Show him your man's walk." Mulan did her best to act like a man, but when her new captain, Li Shang, asked her name, she was stumped. "My name? It's a boy's name, sir. It's, Ping," she replied. Mulan trained long and hard with the other recruits. The most challenging task of all was to retrieve an arrow from the top of a tall pole. None of the other recruits were able to do it, but Mulan used strength and discipline to accomplish the task. Once they had finished training, Mulan and the other soldiers marched into the mountains to face the Huns. Led by the evil Shang Yu, the Huns launched a surprise attack and showered Shang's army with flaming arrows. Then the villains came charging towards Shang's troops. "Aim the last cannon at Shang Yu," Shang cried. But Mulan had a different plan. She grabbed the cannon and ran toward the attacking Huns, and then she lit the cannon's fuse. Kaboom! The rocket flew into the snowy mountainside, causing an avalanche that covered Shang Yu and all the evil Huns. As the avalanche raced down the mountain, Mulan found Shang buried in the snow. With a great heave, she pulled him onto her horse and carried him to safety. "Let's hear it for Ping!" one of the soldiers shouted. "The bravest of us all!" Suddenly, Mulan moaned and held her side in pain. "Ping is wounded. Get help!" Shang cried. After tending to Mulan, the doctor stepped out of the medical tent and whispered to Shang. Shang stepped back in shock. Ping was a woman. Under Chinese law, the penalty for such a grave lie was death. Shang was hurt and angry that Mulan had lied, but she had saved his life, so in return, he spared hers. Shang and his army rode off for the imperial city, leaving Mulan behind. "I never should have come," Mulan said to Mushu. She sadly gathered her belongings and prepared to head home. Just then, Mulan saw that a handful of Huns had survived the battle, including Shang Yu. They were heading for the imperial city to attack the emperor. Mulan knew she had to do something. Mulan raced to the imperial city, where she found Shang and his soldiers. "The Huns are alive," she cried, "and they're on their way here." "Why should I believe you?" Shang replied coldly as he rode past her. Frantic, Mulan tried to warn others in the crowd, but no one listened. All too soon, they saw that Mulan was telling the truth. Shang Yu captured the emperor and held him prisoner in the palace. Shang and his soldiers couldn't get inside. Mulan had an idea. She dressed 3 of the soldiers up in wigs and makeup and gave them paper fans. The Huns were watching for soldiers, so no one paid much attention when some young ladies appeared in the palace hallways. As Shang fought with Shang Yu, Mulan and her friends used banners to slide down a rope and help the emperor escape. Shang Yu knocked Shang unconscious. Then, furious, he began to chase Mulan. As she ran, Mulan glanced out a window and spotted the tower where the emperor's fireworks were stored. With one look from Mulan, Mushu figured out how he could help. Mulan led Shang Yu on a wild chase throughout the palace and onto the roof where she bravely faced him. Just then, Mushu arrived with a rocket on his back. Creaky lit the fuse and Mushu jumped off as the rocket struck Shang Yu and carried him straight to the firework tower. Kaboom! As smoke from the explosion drifted away, the emperor appeared to Mulan's surprise. He bowed to her. Everyone in the palace followed the emperor's example. You have saved us all," the emperor said, and then he gave Mulan 2 gifts, Shang Yu's sword and a pendant bearing the emperor's royal crest. The ruler asked her to become a member of his council, but Mulan declined the offer. It was time to return home to her family. When Mulan got home, she presented the emperor's gifts to her father. Fa Zhao accepted them with pride, but quickly set them aside and gathered Mulan in his arms. "The greatest gift and honor," he said with a smile, "is having you for a daughter." Mulan's heart was filled with love for her family. Moments later, Shang arrived. "Would you like to stay for dinner?" Mulan asked with a smile. Shang smiled back and nodded. Over in the ancestral temple, the first ancestor was talking with Mushu. "Oh, all right," he said. You can be guardian again. Yippee! Mushu shouted. How lucky he and Creaky were to watch over someone as wonderful as Mulan. Good night. I love you.